With this session update, I'm Shannon Lurkey. Department of Revenue Commissioner Robert Doty presented details of the tax elements in Governor Walz's proposed budget to the Senate Tax Committee today. Here are some highlights from that meeting.
I believe we're already one of the highest tax states in the nation. And how does the governor's tax proposal play into being competitive with other states, especially in this time of COVID, where there's a more COVID remote work, easier movement of capital? Of course, we do not want that capital, those revenue producers leaving our state. And I'm concerned about that. And I'm just interested in your take, or the governor's take, on how these significant tax increases will affect Minnesota's uncompetitive lead now in the competitive nature of a global market. You know, is there any level of tax increase that would make us uncompetitive?
There's been a lot of discussion about where Minnesota ranks tax-wise, and again, with regard to, we've got two in here where we focus on individual income tax as well as corporate tax, and we rank in the top 5 in that regard. So a lot of people would say that Minnesota is a high tax state, but I think that they also say that Minnesota is a high service state as well. It's really difficult to simply just use tax rates as a way to compare competitiveness, if you will, state by state. I mean, just the marginal tax rate is just one piece of it. Like, for instance, like our tax structure in Minnesota is very different than in other states. For instance, we collect a higher percentage of state and local taxes at the state level compared to a lot of other states. And in fact, we collect about 74% of our state and local taxes, which then we then are able to give out to local governments in the way of aids and credits, so they won't then have to raise those additional taxes. And the information I've seen is that the average in other states is around 58%. So that's a big difference in our with regard to the tax. I think the other thing that's important when we start thinking about competitiveness, taxes is just, again, one part of this. I mean, a healthy economy, having healthy workers, having people who are able to come to work and are not afraid to leave their house as a result of the pandemic. I mean, these are all things that also contribute to the competitiveness, if you will, of our state.
In 2013, when our previous governor actually passed a tax bill that increased taxes by about $2 billion, what we found in studying those folks who fled Minnesota, we lost about $2 billion of revenue, because we do know that capital is mobile.
My district has about 72 miles of border with South Dakota and 60 miles with Iowa. I have watched higher income taxpayers and businesses flee across the border for years and leave Minnesota. Laverne Fire Equipment, Laverne Truck Equipment are two businesses that started in Laverne, Minnesota. Today they're in Brandon, South Dakota. So I get very concerned when we start talking about this increase in taxes that is being proposed. And I do take issue with the statement that this is only for high income people. Number one, the proposed capital gains surtax. Many of my farmers and small business people continually reinvest their profits into their business. And for many of them, their business and or their farm is their retirement plan. So for many of my older farmers who probably and many times inherited their farm at or bought it with an extremely low basis in it, when they sell that farm, they are going to exceed that $1 million threshold for that 4% surcharge. My question is, do you and the governor really believe that it's fair to charge an individual a surcharge on their retirement plan at that stage of their life?
The issue is that right now, with with the pandemic and trying to figure out how we recover from the pandemic and making sure that we are truly impacting those who have been the hardest hit by the pandemic is the major focus of this particular budget. And I will say that, there are, I fully recognize that there may be businesses or individuals that potentially might, as a result of their business and having to sell capital assets, may exceed that. And so I absolutely acknowledge that they would be responsible for that surcharge. But again, I think that what the governor's proposing is asking those who can do and who can pay more to pay to do that, so that we can help for the greater good of our recovery and bringing the economy back stronger.
Very few of them will absorb those increase in taxes. And what will happen is that they will raise their prices. And the products that they sell are oftentimes bought by lower income people. And so this idea that it's only the wealthy that are paying this tax, in my opinion, is not a valid statement. Everyone is going to pay that additional tax, Commissioner, and including those who can least afford it.
I make retirement withdrawals as well as all of us. Maybe Senator Weber's not at that point yet. That's all taxed. And I don't get any sympathy for the fact that I have saved and saved and saved. And when I withdraw that money, it's taxed. And I think I don't like it, but I think it's probably, I think it's pretty fair.
When my farmer or my businessman sells his assets and recognizes that capital gain, whether it's through a contract for deed or whether he takes a lump sum payment, he will pay a substantial amount of regular tax, both federal and state, on those profits. And we'll probably pay a greater percentage than what we do with our retirement benefits. And what I'm objecting to is this 4% surcharge that is paid in addition to the regular tax.
It's a fact that Minnesota is a progressively taxed state already. So I always, you almost have to discount this statement that pay their fair share as some rationale for increasing taxes by over $1 billion so that people pay their fair share. The fact of the matter is, in Minnesota, a highly progressively taxed state, people do pay their fair share. In fact, they pay more. So I just think we have to set that out there. And then I'm very interested in this tax incidence study. There's so much in the governor's budget here that is going to disincent investment in Minnesota. So, I lost my AirPod here. Hang on. There's so much in the governor's budget, I think, which is going to not only disincent investment in Minnesota. For example, the angel investor tax credit has been reduced actually by 30%. I realize that it had a time limit on it, and so I appreciate the fact that the governor put that in his budget, but it is at a reduced rate. And it is these type of innovations that are not only going to bring us the innovative products that we need, also the innovations in health that we need, and healthcare and COVID treatments, responses. And so I'm concerned about that. And on the broadest of scales, I'm incredibly concerned that we are not only shutting the door on further investment in our state, the governor's budget is actually encouraging revenue producers to leave our state at a time when we need them the most.
To continue following these issues and more, watch legislative coverage Monday through Friday on the PBS Minnesota channel or visit our website, www.senate.mn/media.